So you're used to playing with your controller, but now you have to do a gig where you can only use CDJs. What should you do? Let's talk about that right now. Hey guys, what's going on? It's djTLM. You're watching djTLMtv. Time for a Q&A video. And today's scenario is a scenario that some of you will recognize and some of you are going to recognize this in the future because you have a certain club standard. When it was turntables, it was the Technics SL1200. And now for most clubs, the standard will be a set of CDJs. So a lot of you are starting out with controllers. Some of you might be starting out with a turntable set or DVS using Tractor, Serato, Virtual DJ, anything. But there will be times when you get to do a gig, but all they have is CDJs. And they tell you straight up that they won't have room for other equipment, or sometimes they're just stubborn and they won't accept other equipment. Now, you can think about doing that gig or not. That's your option. You get to choose that. But let's say that you decide that you really want this gig. So that means that now you will have to adapt and use CDJs. So in this case, the question comes from a couple of DJs, and they're used to playing with the DDJ SX and Serato DJ. But in this case, the gig that they have to do or want to do, and it's a good gig for them, they have a 900 Nexus and two CDJ 2000 Nexus. And they never worked with Rekordbox before, and they can't really find clear information about what you need to do in order to play with CDJs. All right, you have a couple of options. And let me start by saying it is definitely always a good thing to learn about other equipment, especially the club standards. So for me, I play with turntables and DVS. I use Serato. That is my preferred setup. But I have occasions where I do a gig and the only thing they have is CDJs. And I made sure that I knew how those things work. Now, they definitely don't feel the same as my turntables, but that should not be an excuse to not be able to play with CDJs. It is a standard that you're gonna run into. Now, you've never used Rekordbox and you can't find info about it. To put it simple, Rekordbox is your music preparation software. Now, you can play on CDJs without ever touching Rekordbox, but please don't do it. I've done that one of my first gigs with CDJs. I'd used them before for studio purposes, scratching and stuff like that, but this was a club gig. I brought two thumb drives filled with music, and I thought I'm just gonna plug these in and start playing. Now, if you put your flash drive into the CDJ and you never use Rekordbox to prepare your music, the CDJ will recognize the thumb drive. It will tell you that there are no Rekordbox files found or whatever, but it will then show you the contents of your thumb drive. So it will show you the music that's on your flash drive, and you can just select music and play. Here's the problem. Finding music on that thumb drive is gonna be hard because there are no parameters you can set to search for music. So you can't set it to look for genres or playlist or BPM. And if you're used to playing with Serato DJ, you have certain things that you're used to. You're used to being able to just click on a button and have everything lined up according to BPM or according to song name or artist name. Now, if you did not prepare your music with Rekordbox, you can put in a thumb drive. It will have all the music, but finding music, for me, it was a horror story because I spent half the time just scrolling through all these songs, and it took me forever to find songs, and I did not play the way that I was supposed to play. So it kind of ruined that gig for me. Rekordbox is not that hard. You just install it, open it, import some music, and it will analyze all that music, scan it, so it will have all the information it needs. And you can make a couple of playlists in Rekordbox, and once you're done, you can just export those playlists to the thumb drive, to your flash drive. So then if you put it into the CDJ, it will say, hey, Rekordbox, cool, bang. And now you have the option to choose if you want to have those tracks according to BPM or artist name. If there's any artist artwork, it will show the artwork. If you set cue points in advance in Rekordbox, it will show the cue points, all that stuff. So that way it becomes a lot easier to play with the CDJs. But there is another option, and this is something to consider. You are used to Serato DJ, but you're used to playing with your DDJ SX. Now the whole DDJ line is similar to how CDJs and the DJM mixers look. Not everything works the same, but you're already accustomed to that whole Pioneer look and feel. You do have the option to use the CDJs with Serato DJ. There's only one thing that is needed, and I'm not sure if they have it, but if you have the club kit, then that 900 Nexus mixer can be plugged into your computer, and you can actually use the CDJs in Serato DJ. Now, I'm not gonna explain exactly how to do that, but there's a lot of videos on that subject. So just search for CDJ and Serato DJ and it will show you. Or search for 900 Nexus and Serato and you will find more info about that. But that is also an option, because if you're used to playing with a controller and a laptop, you are used to having this big screen. For me, that's the biggest downside to playing on CDJs. I always have to adjust from going to a screen that's this size to the smaller, lot smaller CDJ screens that definitely do not fit the same amount of info on screen as my laptop. So that is another option, but learning about Rekordbox and CDJs is a good thing. You can use CDJs without Rekordbox, but it's going to be hell to find your tracks. So just import the music that you want to play into Rekordbox, let it analyze the files, make some playlists, and it will make your life on the CDJs a lot easier. But it would always be great if you can find someone with CDJs so you can just do at least a practice run before you go test in the clubs. Because if you're gonna touch those things for the first time when you enter that club, mistakes are bound to happen. So please look up all the info. There's plenty of info about CDJs online, just tutorials to show you how all the buttons work, so at least that you're prepared and know how everything works. And then you should be able to do a pretty good job. All right, I hope this helps you out. Guys, if you've been in this same situation and you had to go from a controller to CDJs, how did you approach that? What did you do and how did it work out for you? Let us know in the comment section down below. Share that knowledge. If you have any more questions, you know where to reach me, djTLMtv at djTLM.com. And make sure you like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, and I will be back soon. Peace.